beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. My name's Astara and I'm an angelic communicator and clairvoyant. It's really, really raining here today. So if you hear like lots of pitter-pattering on this roof where I am in my sunroom, then sorry, there's not much I can do about it. But I have got some lovely flowers here just to brighten up your day and make it all cheery. I've been doing a lot of work with the Angelic Council talking about the heart temple and looking at heart matrix because all this divine feminine, sacred masculine journey that we're on, even if you're not on a twin flame journey, is about awakening the heart and creating the etheric heart, which is where we'll all be connected in unity consciousness. And these are the things I've been shown. And one of the things I wanted to talk to today is about the law of divine balance. And this seems to be coming up where we're discussing the sacred masculine. And it's important on the twin flame journey because there is something unique about this. So if you are a sacred masculine, divine masculine watching, then very welcome, 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 welcome. Try not to be too triggered by this because we all have masculine and feminine within us. I have done a huge amount of work on my masculine energy, and I know it carries a lot of wounding, as has my feminine energy. So we're all working this divine balance. We're all in this together. So try not to take this on too heavy. So don't be too triggered by what I'm about to talk about. So this is when there is a ripple in the universe, and this ripple goes out from your heart, and it's about that every action that we take in love or fear creates an effect. And these are like effects that go out from us, especially from the heart chakra when we're awakening, and they go out and then they return. And this is the law of divine balance. And in the twin flame journey, I'm shown that often the sacred masculine has called in the feminine twin, has called in the awakened twin. And this twin is not simply just any old person. And the masculine won't actually be aware of this when they're doing it. It might be a soul calling. They might have got to a point in their lives when they're in such a poor state, really, that they've called it in. And the twin is your mirror. We know that. We're sacred mirrors for one another. And the counterpart then reflects both your light and your shadow. And they'll be doing the same for you. So through them, you kind of begin to see through an activation of where you honor love and where you turn away from it. So what is in your shadow and how you reject love and how you welcome love into your life. So when the sacred masculine or the matrix twin acts from fear, pride, ego, control, then that energy is coming out on their divine feminine. And the divine feminine has had a lot of this experience in this life. And it's a good thing the divine feminines are so strong. And one of the reasons they're so strong is because they've had a lot of masculine lifetimes too. So even though they're coming in now, you'll notice that they're quite balanced between their masculine and feminine. And in a way, that makes it easier because you kind of know what the masculine goes through. But in a way, it makes it worse because you also know that the behavior of the masculine and this pride, ego, control, manipulation is actually a really distorted masculine quality. It does tend to harm the divine feminine. It does. And I think this is kind of sad because not only are we understanding where the masculine is at, and the feminine is also being activated to look at her template and clear that up too. It's also showing that the masculine, even though they've asked for it, let's say they prayed for it, their higher self calling out for it on a soul level, like send me this beautiful experience, send me this experience of love, send me something that is going to heal me, send me something that's going to give me hope. And then it's delivered into their life in the form of their awakened twin. So in the universe, nothing is lost. Everything is seeking balance, and there is balance. Believe it or not, there is balance. And if someone misuses love, manipulates, or rejects the purity offered to them, life will naturally bring about an experience that shows them the cost of that vibration. And what I mean by this is if you have manifested your awakened twin into your life, your divine feminine, and she comes, and then you see her and look at her in a way that is distorted, in a way that you can use her for something, you can be predatory on her, you can take from her, you can discard her, you can abuse her on some sort of level, however you feel is going on in your head, in your distorted mindset, in your mind game, when the mind games kick in and the tricks, then something's going to happen there because the way I see this and the way I've been shown is that we are protected. We are always protected, and there will always be something that happens here if we act out on ourselves, because our twin is our divine mirror. If particularly if we act out something on ourselves which is destructive, this is not a punishment. It's meant to be a way of helping your soul to learn and helping you to evolve and transform and move through your darkness. And it's amazing how the higher self works in this capacity to guide you home. I've worked with a lot of feminines on this journey, on this twin flame journey, by some weird experience that landed in my life. I've heard all sorts of stories about things that their masculine twin has done. It's pretty bad, I'd have to say. It's pretty bad. I won't go into it because I don't want to like share anybody's secrets here, but the behaviors are quite bad. And it's maybe not a surprise to anyone who's grown up in this matrix about how a distortive masculine treats the feminine energy. So eventually, there will be something that happens. If you play out with your twin and then maybe they do something, they discard you or they breadcrumb you or they ghost you, or maybe they just try and use you in some particularly not very nice way. Maybe they've used you for money. Maybe they've used you for your contacts. Maybe they've used you, I don't know, we could list a whole myriad of distorted things that people can be used for. So I just don't want to give any more time to it, to be honest. I don't know how you feel, but I feel like enough time and space has been given to this nonsense. I'm pretty fed up with it. The picture I'm shown from the angels that protect us and watch this playing out, I think they're pretty disturbed too. I think they're pretty shocked as well. Eventually, through the awakening process, the matrix twin will begin to awaken and they begin to realize that in harming or denying the love with their counterpart, that they were only denying what they'd actually asked for. They were only denying the gift that was given to them by the divine, by God, by Goddess, however you want to think about this, by the oneness, by the very thing that they were asking for and asking to was given to them, and they decided that they would abuse it. So this was not only denying their own goodness, and that is part of the not feeling worthy, the self-worth wound that goes on with the masculine. And I've done a video on that. You can check that out. They also see that their divine feminine, who is their like empress, their empress counterpart, their exact match, their perfect match, was never an object to control or test, or one that was coming to harm them, one that they needed to reject and run away from, but actually a living mirror of their own soul. Now, a lot of the masculine twins, the matrix twins, they do struggle with self-destruction, they do struggle with addictions and maybe quite egoic processes, but there is goodness in them. I mean, they're a reflection of you. You're exactly the same. We could shame them till the cows come home, but really, they're trying to work through that shame and find a way through it in themselves. They're going to become aware at some point that their twin, who has come into their life because they asked it to, and it was granted as a wish for them from the divine to come into their life and help them, is a living mirror for them to work with. And when this truth lands, I'd like to be a fly on the wall for that moment. I'd love to be there to watch it. Just like, in fact, I might feel for it through the bond. The humility begins to come in, and gratitude is beginning to replace all that arrogance they had, and the mind games are beginning to dissolve because their heart will begin to awaken. And hopefully, and I'm being shown this from the Angelic Council, I'm a little bit skeptical, but I trust what they say to me, that from this humility, the true masculine strength begins to be born within them. It begins to be activated. And this is a strength through the sacred masculine template, which is anchored in service, honor, and divine purpose. They have to awaken in a way that it penetrates right the way through all these distortions, right to the truth. In the same way that the feminines had to activate that way too, it seems to be a bit easier for her because she doesn't have all these egoic distortions. Her distortions will come from a different place. We could do a video on that, usually around defense and feeling helpless and powerless all through the separation phase. The feminine, The awakened twin is working through that. If you are an awakened one, just remember the universe is handling this balance. So you don't need to. You just need to sit back and relax. Just be in your feminine yin. Just chill. Because I'm being shown consistently that the angelic council of light, they know exactly what's going on, and they are doing this in such a way that causes no harm. And it does also mean that you are being protected in this process. Often, this separation period is a protection period. The stuff that comes out of the sacred masculine is pretty gnarly. It's not very nice. And you don't have to be around to absorb that. You're feeling it probably through the bond, and you know the levels of how horrible that can be. So the universe is handling this balance, and you don't need to. And your task is just to remain aligned with your love, to keep your frequency high, to love yourself, to release resentment. The feminine will go into resentment and rage and all of that stuff. So you're releasing that and trying to find a way to trust yourself in this process, that this is all in order. This is all in divine timing and divine orchestration. This is not a call to rescue your twin. If you are feeling that within yourselves, step back, look after yourself. Let the lesson unfold naturally. Let this lesson for the masculine happen and prepare him for that awakening. It is his own initiation and he needs to go through it. And if he has been quite abusive and arrogant and done all the things that you would never do to someone you cared for or loved, if he's shown that level of abuse, then he's going to have to come through all those distortions to realize what he's done. So this isn't really about punishing him, it's about helping him purify and allowing that illusion to dissolve. And anything that has stood in the way of him being in his truth and stood in the way of him being in that love frequency will have to come through him in some way, and he comes into his own realization about this. Now, I'm also being shown that this also happens a lot, even when it's not on a twin flame journey. We're just seeing it on a twin flame journey as like this amplification of it. But if you resonate with the term earth angel, and I certainly do. I find that often I'm sent places and I pop up places. I find that I'm in unusual spaces with different people, new people, and often I'm there to help them or I'm there to transform their energy. Sometimes I don't even have to say anything. I just there. I'm just there and the energy is working through me. It's a really peculiar thing, but I get used to it now. I understand. And usually in this process, I'm in that space for a time and then I leave. And then I learn to detach, to expect nothing from the situation at all, that the job is done and everything is cooked up and done because somehow I was there. I was the person on the ground when it was needed. And so my energy, I was sent there. I did whatever was needed. And often it's to help people. It usually is to help people, although sometimes I have been people's karma. And yeah, there's not such an easy situation, but sometimes, and I'm told this, that I'm their karma because, someone needed to do it. Now, that's not a job that I would want for anyone, but for me, it's about being in complete detachment, being there, holding love frequency, allowing things to transform, and then detaching. Now, interestingly, in this process, if somebody does abuse an earth angel, and I don't know who needs to hear this, but this is the message I've been given. If someone does abuse an earth angel, which is a messenger sent by God, and I'm not religious, but that's the kind of force we're dealing with. If they have been divinely orchestrated into their life and their prayer was answered and they abused that person in any way, a bit like your twin has probably done, then there is a retribution for that. That they will have to go through understanding that you cannot abuse God's messenger. You just can't do it. It's not going to happen. It's not going to be right. So if people's lives start falling apart, they've only got themselves to blame. I am an incredibly empathic person. I do not want anyone to suffer. This is an important lesson, though, because we cannot keep going around abusing what is good in the world. We can't keep going around with distorted energy and keep having this harm because the harm is actually harm to others, but it's also, particularly in the twin flame journey, it's harm to the self. And we need to work through this and come back in connection with ourselves and to love. I really do hold compassion for anyone going through this process. And if you're noticing this in your twin, it's important you look after yourself, you protect yourself, but also have compassion for what they're about to go through or are going through and not get involved. Detach, let them go through it. Trust that the divine is always restoring balance for them. They are willing to go through those ego deaths, go through that process and find what they need inside, which is humility. So they can then find their own devotion within themselves. They can reconnect with their own love and they can spot what is valuable. And once we've realized what is value and what is valuable to us and what has value, we'll know that the soul is engaged, that we are guiding ourselves home with that sense of engagement. We're guiding ourselves home with this love and this light and bringing back that divine frequency into everything we do. If your twin flame or anyone you know has really lost the ability to recognize what is good, I kind of feel sorry for them. But I also know that if they are then enacting abuse on something which is given to them as a gift from the divine, it's not going to be accepted very graciously by divine helpers and by God. If you like this video, I wish you well. These flowers are so beautiful. They're really keeping me going today. If you want to work with me, I do quite a few workshops online. I do one-to-one soul sessions and twin flame clarity sessions. I've met some beautiful divine feminines. Some people have come to me because they need to break spells that's on their masculine. We can definitely do that because that helps them leave the matrix and move out of the distortion. I work with the Ascended Masters for this, and often Mother Mary comes in. I think the roses are reminding me of Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary, and also Archangel Michael. And there are other beings that come through to help as well. If you are an earth angel on this earth plane, then you're not alone. Welcome, welcome. I would love to connect with you on my channel. If you want to look at your Akashic record, this is especially for my earth angels because the Akashic records of the earth angels are very interesting. If you want to come do that, you can book a session with me. I'd love just to meet you. So go to my website and my Instagram, my link tree, and you'll find things on there. If money is an issue, just email me. If you need a discount, I can send you a discount code because I'm aware that we live in a world where not all of our earth angels have a lot of finance. So let me know, and I'm always willing to meet you wherever you're at. Okay, lots of love. Bye.